hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
£54,321 cash could be yours. Cash that you could spend however you like. It's like having an extra £1,000 each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash. So make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Great to see you. How are you doing? Hello, hello. Yes, yes. Hello, you at the back. Trying to hide and not get yourselves on telly, but I'll get you on telly. All right. Well, hello and welcome to my live studio audience show. Here's what's on tonight. So, 1 in every 100 Channel migrants in hotels is suspected of committing a crime, and it looks like possibly only 1 in every 16 Afghans that successive governments smuggled into Britain had a genuine asylum claim. So not a great return, that really, is it? Plus,
I think it's really important that 16 and 17-year-olds have the vote because they're old enough to go out to work, they're old enough to pay taxes, so to pay in.
Oh, we've got a bit of laughter here. People are against the votes for 16-year-olds? Yeah. Is anyone in favour of votes for 16-year-olds? We've got a couple of young lads at the back. I wonder whether or not they might be in favour of it. But anyway, fair enough. So, should 16-year-olds vote? And
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
So everyone in this room is forgiven Prince Harry, right? Oh, well, can he ever be forgiven? He's after a bit of reconciliation with the king. Also,
down here lives the Fatberg, a mixture of rancid fat, human excrement and other unmentionables.
Rather him than me, I think. I've just got a nice air-conditioned studio, so that's all right. But anyway, serious water pollution is up 60%. Yes, 6-0. So should we make those water company bosses swim in it? I think so. Yes. Make a bit of vigilante justice there. And as well, there we are. OK, this is one way to ruin a marriage.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're OK? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Oh, gosh, imagine finding out your husband likes Coldplay. You know? Absolutely. Oh, you just have to walk out, wouldn't you? You'd have to walk out. Anyway, on my panel tonight, we have got former Tory MP Jane Stevenson, everybody. We've got, making a glorious return, broadcaster JJ Adesobi. We've got the Labour MP for Brent West, it's Barry Gardner. Cheers this week, cheers. And the former Vice Chairman of the Tory Party, Jonathan Gullis. OK. It is action-packed tonight. I'm ready and raring to go. So get ready, Britain. Here we go. OK, so it turns out that we secretly imported a load of fake asylum seekers. Next.
Patrick, thank you. The top stories. More than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel this year, as hundreds more made that crossing this morning. People smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the English Channel today to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters. GB News can also reveal more than 320 migrants made the crossing yesterday. The number who have crossed so far this year is more than 55% up on the same period last year. In other news, 2 people were arrested following anti-immigration protests overnight at a hotel in Epping. Essex police said a police officer sustained minor injuries after protesters clashed with police. Fireworks were let off and eggs were thrown outside the hotel. Police vehicles were also damaged. It's the latest demonstration to happen outside the Bell Hotel after a 38-year-old man was accused of sexual assault. Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the Labour Party for a second time. Her suspension comes after she doubled down on comments about racism, for which she'd previously apologised. She's the 5th Labour MP to be suspended by Sir Keir Starmer this week. Ms Abbott was suspended by Labour in 2023 after writing a letter to The Observer comparing racism experienced by people of colour with that seen by other groups. She apologised and was readmitted to the party before the 2024 general election. Rachel Maskell, Brian Leishman, Chris Hinchcliffe and Neil Duncan-Jordan also lost the whip this week. They now sit as independents in the House of Commons. Former Defence Secretary Grant Shapps says he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat when it comes to the Afghan data leak, saying Afghans who helped Britain risk execution and British Special Forces were exposed. The personal details of spies and Special Forces were included in a major data breach that led to thousands of Afghans being secretly relocated to the UK. Information about more than 100 Britons, including Special Forces and SAS, was in that breach. Shapps said the injunction blocking reporting of the breach at the time was quite rightly applied for by his predecessor, he believed at the time it should stay in place. The super-injunction preventing the reporting of even the existence of the injunction was lifted earlier this week. And the number of the most serious water pollution incidents rose by 60% last year, according to the Environment Agency. The data, which covers England, found 3 companies, Thames Water, Southern Water and Yorkshire Water, responsible for more than 80% of the incidents. The Environment Agency said it found consistently poor performance across all 9 water and wastewater firms in the country. The report comes as MPs call for a complete overhaul of the system regulating water companies earlier this week. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. There's more news from me in an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Fantastic to see so many wonderful people here. This is the best way to kickstart your Friday, but it's been a big week, hasn't it? It's been a big week. Do you remember earlier this week when it turned out that successive governments had lied to you all about secretly importing Afghan refugees into Britain? We all remember that, don't we? And, you know, that little story, teeny tiny story about how thousands of them came over, some members of our own armed forces were then apparently turfed out of their homes so that we could make way for them, cost the taxpayer between £850 million and £7 billion, depending on which newspaper you read. But either way, a lot of money. And then they moved them into towns across Britain. And people were like, oh, gosh, is it me? Or are there suddenly loads of Afghans here? And you were told, don't believe your eyes, OK? You can't see them. No, that's not real. They're not really here. There had, in fact, always been a large Pashtun population in Bracknell. And actually, Stoke has always looked a bit like this. And then it turned out that the government decided to take out a super-injunction to stop people like me reporting on it. We couldn't even say there was a super-injunction. Pesky things, those super-injunctions, aren't they? Anyway, so we all remember that. We all remember that. Right, well, then today it turned out that loads of them might be fake asylum seekers as well. So that's the icing on top of that cake, isn't it? Defence sources today told The Telegraph that of the 100,000 people revealed in this data breach, as few as maybe 1 in 16 people identified had genuine claims for resettlement. Now, unfortunately, one 16-year-old Afghan has been charged with a sexual offence near a British military base. But, of course, we were told he was brought over under one of the Afghan schemes that we knew about. But now there's serious concern that maybe he was brought over under the secret scheme. And it also turns out that look, these well-meaning, helpful interpreters might have actually been working for the Taliban.
Because I dealt with it firsthand, that a number of the local nationals working for the coalition in Afghanistan were, without question of doubt, passing intelligence to the Taliban for 2 reasons. One, ideological support, and the other because their families were being threatened and they, in other words, were being coerced into passing that information on.
Look, again, as you will be able to see right here on the screen behind me, we know that the stats show that Afghans are more likely than any other nationality to commit a sex crime in Britain. So, really, I think the question is, was it really the right thing to bring those people over? Let's get the thoughts of my panel and my wonderful live studio audience as well. Jonathan, I'll start with you, of course, from Stoke as well, actually. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't realise it did resemble Kabul, but there we go. So, go on. Well, do you think it was the right thing to do? Because it did happen under the Tories.
Look, I don't have a problem in the initial maybe 3 to 6 months if you generally believe that there is a risk to innocent lives in Afghanistan, and at that stage you are not sure if people were indeed those genuinely helping our armed forces or not. Look, I lost friends in Afghanistan who served out there, but after 6 months, and after the fact we know that the list was published on Facebook, and after the fact the evacuation had already taken place and the Taliban was in full control, I don't really see a justification for keeping that much further. I think what the public are rightly most angry about is, number one, how on earth has no one been sacked for this? If any of us did this in any job that we worked in, you'd be on the end of a firing. Secondly, how is it that taxpayers' money has been funneled into a scheme and nowhere in the accounts has that been published or listed anywhere? So how, if the government can hide money for this, what else Could it be hiding? And then the fact that the story comes out that this was about just Afghans on the list. Then we're told there's MI6 agents and Special Forces names on the list too. So what else are we also not being told about this very serious thing? I think the government, which inherited this situation, but did also choose to continue with the super-injunction for the last year, has to publish in full everything that can be published so that once and for all we can see and shine light on what has happened, because it's an embarrassment, a shame. And as you say, what I'm deeply concerned about is 1 in 16 only having been legitimate. And somewhere like Stoke, which is the 5th largest voluntary asylum scheme, was at one stage had 1,200 migrants as recently as February this year in our city. This is going to see crime unleashed on our streets.
All right, I'll go to the chap in the audience on the front row here. You got a microphone in your hand. What would you like to say on this Afghan interpreter issue?
Yeah, well, I think most of us were hugely surprised to hear about this, and a year later after the election. And I suppose my question would be, why are politicians becoming increasingly reluctant to tell us the truth about migration? It seems just one aspect of the whole pattern.
Yeah, OK, fair enough. A good point. So Barry, I'll come to you on this. We've had the
apology. Oh, no, we didn't get an apology from the former chairman of the Conservative Party under whom it all happened. Sorry.
Well, go on. I mean, go.
Well, Barry, what I would say, Barry, is like you, I first read about this in a national newspaper. So having been deputy chairman of the Conservative Party, I can tell you, no one told me there was a super-injunction. Had someone told me, I like to think I would have had the guts to say, we can't hide this. This is an absolute abomination.
Well, look, let me say, first of all, there were many people in Afghanistan who helped our forces when they were there, and we do owe them a debt of thanks. Doesn't matter whether they were translators or whether they were cooks or whatever they were, but we know who the Taliban are. We know what they would do to people who helped our troops. And therefore, I do think we owe a debt of gratitude to those people. Now, this list was supposed to be all the people who had claimed that they had in some way helped our troops. Doesn't mean they did, but they are people who said they did. So the real point at which everything goes belly up is when that, I won't say idiot, no, I just did, in the Department of Defence leaked that information, not intentionally, but just exposed that information. That was an idiotic thing to do. But what it did do is it did put all of the people on that list at risk of reprisal. And I think...
do they all deserve to come, then?
We don't know that. We don't think they did. People have suggested that actually only, 1 in 12, 1 in 16, whatever the figure is, actually did deserve to come. But it's certainly more than the interpreters. It's certainly more than the scouts. It's a whole load of people who did give assistance. Because, quite honestly, if you were a medic in Afghanistan, you could have been giving help to the British troops. So there were a lot of people who might have been vulnerable, and it was right that we tried to protect their identity.
OK, all right, because I'm quite keen to get a flavour for the room on this. So do people think that we should have been allowing all of these people to come? No? No. OK. Does anyone... I mean, it seems a bit like... I mean, if they did genuinely help us, would you have still left them over there, do you think, or...? No. So you wanted a more precise one of... and it kind of feels like we're being lied to a little bit. Well, JJ, I'll get you to follow up on this.
I agree with everything Barry said, basically, but I think, agreeing with Jonathan, after 6 months of these Afghans being here, we should have been able to go through and decipher which ones were legitimate, who had actually helped the British Armed Services, and those who hadn't should have been sent back. I don't understand how the law works in this country, that if a foreigner commits a crime in this country, suddenly we're unable just to say, you're deported. I go to America quite often. If I commit a crime in America, I'm done. If I commit a crime in this country, I can't even go to America. We've got...
Can't even go to jail at the moment.
You can't even go to jail.
Unless you tweet something, and then it's 3 years behind bars.
In Denmark, they are returning Afghans. Germany are returning Afghans. Pakistan are returning Afghans. Seems everyone else is able to do it, but for some reason in Britain, and I am the lefty on the panel, but I'm going to have to blame the lefty lawyers who are stopping us from taking care of what should be done.
Yeah.
Are we not elected?
Go on.
Well, I think the problem is our asylum laws, we're acting under laws that were written 70 years ago in many cases for Europe. It was for Europe, mid-20th century. It doesn't work on a global thing. I think most reasonable people think those specific people who are at risk, and I think that's why our special forces were on the document to give a reference to those few people.
It does cut away at public trust, though, doesn't it? Because
Absolutely.
there's a huge catalogue of different things that have happened relatively recently where I think, rightly, the British public feel as though they've been misrepresented or misled. We had the Pakistani grooming gang scandal. I think there was a huge amount of... Well, there's an information vacuum about Southport, wasn't there, which was a huge problem. And then now it turns out that, I mean, the successive governments have really tried to hide this from us, and if the consequence of that has been, Jane, that someone has been violently attacked or sexually assaulted or something by someone that the British government brought over and then tried to hide the fact they brought over from us, that is going to have a catastrophic impact on public trust, isn't it?
Absolutely, but I think the Secretary of State, Ben Wallace at the time, and then Grant Shapps, they were in an impossible situation. They found out our special forces, our agents, their cover was blown. They had to act really quickly, but as Jonathan says, it needed to be in place for a short amount of time, and this is years later now. It's not acceptable.
The problem here was this. The moment those names became public and the Taliban could get hold of them, we had made them have a genuine asylum claim, because at that point they had a well-founded fear of persecution in Afghanistan. Because the Taliban...
Every woman in Afghanistan has a valid asylum claim. There is a limit to the number of people we can take. And the scramble getting out of Kabul, and it was caused by Trump setting ridiculous dates to do this.
Let's get it right. They don't have a genuine asylum claim because they haven't a fear of persecution. It's got to be individual. These people we had exposed, and as individuals, they were then targeted.
I think that's it. But then if one bloke's brought 13 family members with him, and I don't think as a bloke I would have got on a plane and left my wife and children in Afghanistan and then hoped that they would come back at some point in the future, which makes me raise serious questions about what kind of bloke that is. But anyway, now, sir, I'm going to go to you. Now, I hope you don't mind me saying this. In the break, I did hear you swear, so let's keep it clean. I don't want you to get a £1,000 fine from Thanet Council. So, what point would you like to make, sir?
Hi, good evening, folks. Now, this has not been mentioned before, or it has, I'm not caught it. Right. The Afghan adventure was a UK-US joint venture. So why is the UK on the hook for all these refugees? Why aren't the US taking some, unless they are, of course, and we don't know about it?
OK, all right. Well, it's a good point. I mean, it does, I think, feel at times like the UK is like the basket for the world, isn't it, where we have to take people from every single conflict, whether or not we've had a hand in it or not. Jonathan, do you think that other countries should be doing more? Is Britain being too kind? I mean, we have supposedly booted out some members of our own armed forces to make way for these people.
So what I find ironic, and it was a great question there from the gentleman, was when everyone like me says we should leave the European Convention of Human Rights, I'm decried as some sort of fascist and far-right lunatic. Ironically, though, the United States of America is not a signatory of the ECHR, neither is Australia, neither is New Zealand, neither is Canada, and yet we call those free-loving democracies. So maybe America's able to deport the scumbags, goats and savages that plague communities and rape innocent women and girls in their areas and bring violence to their streets because they're not held by some random court in Strasbourg, by some pyjama judge who wants to tell us who we can and cannot get on the plane anytime soon. This is the biggest barrier to actually being able to hold ourselves accountable, as well as the Refugee Convention, which was written in the 1950s for a very different world that we live in now.
That's all great, but...
Well, popular view. Go on, David, go on.
To answer your question, sir, America, yes, takes in refugees. We're not going to write about it as press over here because you don't care what America's doing, you don't care what Spain's doing. The UK takes in actually a very tiny amount of refugees compared to... It's true. Compared to other countries in Europe. Small amount.
Over 100,000 illegal migrants in this country.
Yeah, well, that's
on top of those who've come by planes or back of lorries.
You're talking about illegal migration. I'm talking about taking in refugees. Two completely separate things. But this is what Tories always do. They conflate issues.
Can we have a peace treaty over there?
Yeah, well, actually, to be fair, President Trump has said he could sort this out in a day. So that's all right.
Barry took the Jeremy Corbyn line then, peace treaty.
I just want to make one point. and that is that the reason that the signatories of the European Convention on Human Rights do not contain the USA, Australia and New Zealand might have something to do with the name on the tin.
However, that's a lazy cop-out, Barry, and you know it is because you're always banging on about Russia and Belarus and all this lot, but you don't say that the US is some basket case, even though they're not signatories to this ridiculous European Convention that we're stuck with.
Well, we are off to a lively start, aren't we? And I have got a lot more coming your way, and I can't wait to hear from more members of the audience as well, so thank you very much, everybody who's already contributed. But we all know why you're really here, don't we? Yes, that's right. It's time for the biggest and the best Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win £54,321 in tax-free cash. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
This is your chance to enjoy luxury this summer. It's our biggest cash prize to date, an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. What would you do with that? With all of that cash, you could just chill out, treat yourself and indulge in the finer things in life, somewhere like here, Downhall Hotel and Spa. You really could win the cash giveaway of the summer. Go on, treat yourself.
For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. So there's been a surge in people aged over the age of 80 applying to become the legal parents of a surrogate baby. But, you know, is that OK? Is it child abuse? Should it be allowed? My audience are going to have their says on that in just a few minutes' time.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to Patrick Christys tonight with my live studio audience. And unfortunately, this thing has stopped working, so I'm going to have to get them to scroll for me again in the background. But jaw-dropping data from the family courts has revealed something really quite astonishing. And that thing is that now people over the age of 80 are applying to become surrogate parents, right? So do we think that that's OK? You know, some argument would be... oh, no. People say no. Has anyone here got the microphone that they want to make a point on this? Has anyone actually got the microphone? No, not yet. We'll get it round in a second. Do you think that 80-year-olds should be able to be surrogate parents there? What do you think?
No.
No?
Because it's not fair on the baby and...
yeah.
The parent's probably too old.
And the parent's probably too old. All right, is that a general view? Do we think people agree with that? Yeah. Right. OK, Jane, I'll bring you in. What do you think about this?
It does seem a little bit ridiculous. When I first read the story, I thought maybe it was families trying to avoid all their money going to Rachel Reeves in some sort of inheritance sort of manipulation. But it is clearly surrogate kind of... it's a completely different thing. But maybe if you're a Rolling Stone and you want to have a baby later... this could be, but I think for most people this is...
He had a few already.
Yeah.
He's prolific, isn't he? He's prolific. But, yeah, I mean, I suppose it's like you might be able to give them, like, a good few years? No?
But they won't remember that, because if you're 80...
who won't remember it?
Well, either of them. A very good point. But it gives an opening for a whole different sort of care home.
Yeah.
With sort of attached nursery facilities, and I think it's just so out of kilt with what is normal.
There is data that suggests old people being put, old people in nursing homes being put with under 3-year-olds. Yeah, it's a positive effect. But those old people are not having to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and baby feed and all that stuff. I think it's selfish of an 80-year-old to want to do this. There's 2,400 kids in the UK who are waiting to be adopted. Right. There's another 2,000 kids who are in foster care. If you want a child that desperately, go and help a child who is already...
Yeah.
If I ever get to be over 80, I can tell you, if I then want a kid, I won't be doing it through surrogacy, right?
Whoa! We all know about care homes, Barry. We've all heard about care homes. What are you telling us? What are you telling us?
That's fighting talk, I think.
Entirely sure what you mean.
If you still can have a kid, then, hey, you know, at least have the fun of doing it rather than... why would you...
Look at Patrick, he doesn't know what to do. Well, you know what? Fair play. Fair play. That's a fair. Yes. Yeah. If you still can, it would be the obvious.
I don't want to follow that, but I'm going to try. Which is, look, I think actually the more serious issue that we should be discussing in this country is the serious decline in birth rates and the dire need for us to have a policy, a taxation system that helps families, not goes after individuals. What is it now? The birth rate is the lowest since 1977 across England and Wales. We're meant to be having 2.1 children per woman. We're only having 1.4 at this moment in time in order to make sure that the population keeps on sustaining. It's a very serious issue, but yet in this country we tax people as individuals, not by households. You look at the fact that someone can get child support if they have 2 parents on 55,000, let's say, rather than 1 parent on 60,000. That is absolute insanity. And so I hope, and I think it was promised in the Labour manifesto to look at this, I hope that Rachel Reeves does deliver on that, because by God does she need to deliver on something in order to try and win back public trust, because this serious birth decline, not just in this country, but across Europe and across North America, is therefore going to lead us on needing more and more mass migration to fill vacancies in the future and see the natural population of Great Britain eviscerated over time.
How about the 2-child cap? Are you in support of that, then?
I would lift the two-child cap. I fully support what Nigel Farage has suggested on that. And people, I'm assuming like Barry, maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, Barry, if I've put you in trouble with the whips. And if you're in trouble with the whips, you'll be losing the whip sometime soon, probably. But but all I would say is, I know your lips are sealed.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. You know, there's a new dynamic to tonight's show, which is before Barry Gardner was able to come on and speak relatively freely, and maybe polite.
About my sex life post-dating.
Well, this is true. But you know,
is that a sack on the fence? We'll find out, won't we?
I also, you know, politely disagree with his boss, the Prime Minister, and that would have been fine. But Keir Starmer started sacking everyone who disagrees with him now, Barry. So are you all right to be here before we carry on?
You know, the interesting thing is that I did vote against the government.
Don't tell Keir.
Former Labour MP for Brent West.
But you know, the Labour Party is a broad church. Now, I think I'm still somewhere in that little transept aisle.
It's less broad than last week.
Well,
Gosh.
let's just see this. So, who in this room has got children? Show of hands, yeah. Show of hands, yeah. OK, I suppose one on the way, I suppose, yeah. All right, yeah. Who's got the most? Anyone got loads of kids?
Four.
Well done, Barry. Well done, Barry.
There you go.
Very virile, as we know. Very virile.
Absolutely.
Good job it wasn't two, isn't it?
Churchill.
You've just been fined by Thanet Council. I'll come on to you later. No, I'm just wondering whether or not anyone in this room would should there be an age limit to when you can adopt a child? Does anyone want to shout a number at me, age-wise? We're thinking
60.
60, going 60.
Yeah.
Oh, lady can we get the microphone to the lady on the front row, please? Is that all right? There we go. Good. What do you think? Age limit?
Well, I wasn't going to say about an age limit, but I just think that we've got this horrible issue here about childcare, and then we have people who seem to want to have children around. Why aren't we marrying the two up and solving a problem?
That's
Why aren't we having judges stepping in and saying, no, you can't take care of this child who's going to suffer over time as they become parentified and they suffer, but instead, why don't you step in and help your community?
So maybe look after a daycare almost.
Yeah, foster, daycare, whatever is required. Childminding.
I wouldn't leave my kid with an 80-year-old. I wouldn't. Unless it was my mother or father, I wouldn't leave my kid with a random
80-year-olds are very different, though.
If it's Barry, definitely.
Well, you wouldn't leave your wife with Barry based on that, based on this discussion, would you?
It's a long break, you know.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting one, really. So, OK, well, I mean, that just startled me, though. What I think is going to happen, what I think is happening, and I think you might have been alluding to this, is that I think there might be a few blokes over the age of 80 that have got maybe a younger wife and they are going down the surrogacy route, and so technically they are inflated. Ronnie Wood, for example, who I don't know how litigious Ronnie Wood is, so I will say now there is no evidence to suggest it's right. But here's an example. Al Pacino's just become a father, for example, hasn't he? Whatever age he is, right? So
Robert De Niro's got quite a young child, I think, as well.
I wonder if it's these people.
But that's not surrogacy, is it? That's just having a kid with a much younger woman, and the woman will be there to keep on raising the kid, God willing. But Al Pacino and
women are having children later, and perhaps some women have not managed to do that. So if your partner is older than you, no. But if your husband is maybe older than you, but you're my age, then you're probably 21. Saying, a son.
Well done, Oh, you beat me to it. Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
OK. Right, we've still got loads more coming your way. So there's quite a big development happening when it comes to Prince Harry. Should we take a look?
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
Well, it was revealed a few days ago that there's a secret peace summit. It's quite difficult to say that, actually. Secret peace summit taking place with representatives of Prince Harry and the King, and it's set a cat amongst the pigeons. But apparently, it might have broken down. What I want to know from people in this room is: do you think that Prince Harry can be forgiven? What would he have to do to be forgiven? Yeah, you're all ready to go. Hold on a couple of minutes. Hold on a couple of minutes. We'll talk about it when we come back.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A lively night out there in places with a thunderstorm warning in force for parts of southeast England because of the sheer amount of rain that could fall in just under 3 hours. We've got low pressure to the northwest. That's causing rising air. That, combined with the heat and humidity that has been building over the last few days, means that an area of thundery rain may well be imported from northern France through the Channel and arrive into London and the southeast during the early hours. And the intense rainfall rates, although not everyone will experience them, of course, there is the risk of flash flooding from this system. Elsewhere across the UK, a muggy night to come. A lot of cloud cover, further showers here and there, but particularly across parts of England into East Wales. And it's this area where there is the risk of a month or even 2 months worth of rain falling in less than 3 hours. So although we need the rain, that amount of rain falling onto dry surfaces could cause some real issues by Saturday morning. Northern Ireland, cloudy skies, a few showers, scattered showers into the west of Scotland. Not as humid here as compared with the rest of the UK, but it's a cloudy picture across many parts of England, southern and eastern Scotland, parts of Wales as well, with these outbreaks of thundery rain moving north. Not everyone will experience thunder, lightning, hail, although there will be some aspects of that. Many places, though, will see a spell of heavy rain as it moves north into southern and eastern Scotland by the afternoon, followed by further showers or even thunderstorms towards the south. Where we do get some sunshine coming through, it's going to continue to feel very warm and humid. Less so on Sunday, and on Sunday we've got this low pressure system circulating close to the southwest of England, bringing further spells of heavy rain and showers into the southwest. There'll be further showers elsewhere as well. It slowly turns less humid and cooler as we start next week, but there'll be further heavy showers out there and further rumbles of thunder.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand. Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight. On the
unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with my live studio audience. Some people quite far travelled here. We've got a couple in from Aberdeen, so thank you very much. It's good effort. That all right. In fact, as I was told, 30 miles north of Aberdeen. So yeah, well done them. Anyway, a royal reconciliation could now be closer than ever, apparently. So a secret peace summit. Not a secret, was it? Because he found himself on the front page of the Daily Mail, but there we go. Secret peace summit between representatives of the King and Prince Harry last week has sparked a fevered speculation that they could be on the verge of burying the hatchet. Sources told the Mail on Sunday that the meeting was the initial step towards a rapprochement process to restore the broken relationship, really, the broken relationship. OK, so there we go. My question really to the audience and to the panel is there anything that Prince Harry can do to get forgiveness? So do you think that he should be forgiven? Anyone? Strong stuff in the... Does anyone like him? Come on, someone must like him. Yeah, no, one person, there we go.
Without Meghan.
West without Meghan, right, OK. If I open it up any more, I'm slightly concerned as to what we're going to hear, so let's carry on. What could he do to be forgiven, Jonathan? Oh, then JJ, yeah.
I'll go before.
Oh, all right, steamroll.
Will I go before Jonathan?
I think the public who already dislike Harry are never going to forgive him. And that's fine, that's your opinion. But speaking as a parent, if that was my son, of course, I'd forgive him. Charles will forgive him. All Harry has to do is go to Charles and say, I'm sorry, I made a massive mistake, I still love you, I want to come back into the family, and Charles will forgive him like that, because that's what parents do. Anyone who sits here and says, no, we're forgiven, well, then you don't know love then.
OK, yeah. Go on, Jane,
I think the problem is he doesn't seem to realise it's him that is in the wrong. I think most people think it's Harry that's made the mistakes. I don't know who he's paying for their PR, but you think they could get someone a bit better. Their comms is tone deaf. And I'd like to see him be able to come back because, you know, the King is getting older.
Yeah.
And I think if this is probably, you know, the last couple of years that, you know, there is to reconcile and have a good relationship going forward. But unfortunately, I think there's so much negativity. The couple told Brits we hated Meghan because we were all racist. And I think most people were really happy when they got married. And it was really positive, and it's just gone so sour, so wrong.
I get that it's different with the royals and with also what Prince Harry is now, which is like a hyper-celeb, isn't it? They don't always behave in the same way that you and I would, but I think sending your representatives to meet your father's representatives to talk about some kind of reconciliation just feels a little bit weird, doesn't it? There is someone I'm being told who's got a microphone at the back. Yes, hello, sir. What would you like to say about Prince Harry being forgiven?
I don't really have a problem with forgiving him, but accepting him to his previous position is what I'm questioning. There's a big difference there. I don't really mind forgiving, forgetting, because everyone has the ability to say whatever they want, and he should be treated as an individual.
So, go on, I'm sorry about this, I'm going to put you on the spot. It's a great point, right, which is that let's say that King Charles goes, OK, we all make mistakes, you know, I do want to have a relationship with my son. What would you still want him to... I mean, he's always going to be a prince, isn't he? So, I mean, what would you have him as? Just a I don't know, a spare part again?
I don't think I would have him back as a prince, but I don't mind having him back into the country.
Are you OK with Andrew? You OK with having him?
Well, you're putting this poor lad on the spot.
I know,
you don't have to...
Harry's not been accused of anything other than slating his family. Andrew's been accused of a lot worse. He's still got his titles.
I don't get the impression you're a strong Prince Andrew fan either, to be fair, mate.
He looks like one to me.
No. Well done, mate. Thank you very much. A great point. Yeah, Jonathan, what do you make of all this?
So, look, I'm with a lot of what I think JJ was saying, which is, as a father to a son, and another son on the way now, I think, for me, I want... I'm on 3, one behind Barry. But I will say
That's why you want the two-child benefit cap lifting. It's purely selfish.
Okay, your interest. But, yeah, no, I think, for me, I hope they reconcile, because father and son is a really important bond, and fatherlessness in this country is a major issue. And they should bond because they want to, and it should be regardless of what us and the country think. It should be regardless of Harry having any role or title in society. It should just be about a father and a son coming together and a family once again reuniting. So, more importantly, the King's grandchildren can get to know his father's side of the family and build that relationship, because that is also important for those children and their upbringing. And so I hope that that can be done, and it can therefore be a private relationship rather than Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who have stupidly gone on air and played a lot of this out in the public when it never needed to be. And I think the King has been very dignified in keeping his silence, as has his brother, Harry's brother, Prince William, as well. So I hope, for the sake of family, they reconcile. I hope, for the sake of the public, that we don't have to hear about it anymore in the media. And I hope, for the country, we can then move forward to looking at what we want our monarchy to be in this day and age.
Yeah. With my slightly cynical hat on, I am wondering what's really going on behind the scenes here, OK? So we know that King Charles has had a couple of health issues, right? So maybe that's a factor in it. There might be a time frame here that Prince Harry's looking to reconcile with. Fine. I also just think, You know, he started doing a few things quite separately from Meghan recently, hasn't he? He was walking over a field which no longer had landmines in it in Angola, I think, the other day. She wasn't there. I don't think he looked particularly happy with her Netflix thing in whoever's kitchen that was. And I just wonder, well, what's going on? Maybe why is he wanting to worm his way back in now? But we'll have to wait and see. Barry, your views on this? I mean, would you have the wayward son back?
I believe it's always right to forgive somebody if they're sorry. And I think the word is rapprochement, actually, not reproachment.
Sorry.
The auto cue was very specific about the quote marks.
Well, I've actually just got back from France, so I'm not quite fluent yet.
But look, I think the less we talk about them, the more likely it is that they'll get back together. And it's about family. If we believe in family in this country, this is the most difficult family to be born into. Let's face it. It's not been easy. Whichever generation you look at, it's not been easy being in that family. And I just wish them the best of luck and hope it happens.
OK, well, I was quite imaginative. We are sorry about this. So we're really pressed for time now. I've overrun, so I'm going to steam on with this show. But coming up,
down here lives the fatberg, a mixture of rancid fat, human excrement, and other unmentionables.
Serious now, Barry. Is that pollution or pollution?
I would tell you what it was, but you've already told me I'm not allowed to swear on the programme.
There we go. Right, serious pollution by water companies soared by a massive 60% last year. There's no excuse for this, it is absolutely disgusting. It's gone way too far. Should we make those fat cat bosses criminally responsible, or maybe, as I would have it, make them swim in it? Anyway, next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello, everyone. Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody, to my live studio audience show. So, serious water pollution. This stuff really winds me up, actually. So, water pollution has gone up 60% in England in a year. So, Thames Water, Southern Water, Yorkshire Water, they're revealed to be the worst culprits. There were 75 serious pollution incidents last year, so from 47 in 2023. Several of the incidents affected swimming spots, protected waters, also killed a load of wildlife as well. It's the latest blow after years of growing public anger. And look, what are we going to do about this, really? We can't carry on like this. It's an absolute disgrace the way that this is going. So, should we be criminalising the people who own the water boards? Oh, yeah, should we have a bit of vigilante justice and make them swim in the rivers that they've just polluted or something like that? There's a lady on the front row here who would like to make a point about water pollution, so go for it.
And who's responsible? So essentially, outside of urban areas, most of the pollution actually seems to be coming from runoff from farmland, and farmers are not being held responsible in any way whatsoever. However, I think we can also that farmers are kind of going through it a bit. Should they be being held responsible?
Interesting. I think you might be about to enrage farmer Twitter there. So,
I'm pro-farmer. I grew up on a farm.
Good, that's probably worthwhile you sticking that in there. So there we go. Right, what do we think about this, guys? Who wants to go first?
That's absolutely right. Look, you're absolutely right. The nitrogen and phosphate pollution from fertiliser is a huge problem. It causes eutrophication of the rivers. Basically, the rivers become dead, kills the fish in the rivers. It's a huge issue. Where I would disagree with you is actually farmers are now being prosecuted for it. So there is a rise in prosecutions from the Environment Agency. And there's also new technologies which are able to separate out from the slurry, which was often a cause of it. They're separating that out, the chemicals, taking out the phosphorus and nitrogen, which they can then use much better to fertilise the crops in the field and separate that. So technology is helping us, but there are much stronger...
Well, I do think, regardless of, whatever is going on with the farmers, I think there is possibly a slightly bigger issue here when we're seeing, the footage that we do see of, like, raw sewage just being pumped out into rivers and seas, and you think, well, surely someone's got to go to prison for this.
People need to be held accountable. I think population growth means our sewers are completely overwhelmed. A lot of them are really, really old. I think water companies need realistic targets that are overseen. So, you've got 5 years to do this much improvement. But a lot of the anger and people saying, there's so much more pollution. The Conservative government, it did stop monitoring. Labour only monitoring about 6% of storm overflows. Now it's 100%. So we know more about the pollution. So, yes, we need to get on top of the pollution. I think water companies, if bosses are taking massive bonuses and not doing their job, that's, of course, they should be accountable.
I just think, I've seen people outside train stations where I nearly had it once. You go to put a cigarette out and there's no bed, you put it on the floor. All of a sudden, someone with a body cam comes, that'll be £60, sir. Oh, I wish I'd just emptied my septic tank into the river instead, because that seems like that's absolutely fine to do that, doesn't it? Jonathan, what's your take on this?
So, look, in defence... the Conservative government brought in powers for Ofwat to have executive bans from bonuses. But actually, to be fair to the Labour government, they're the ones who actually then brought that in for 6 firms in order to actually physically not allow it to happen. And then they brought in as well, the Labour government, the Waters Act of 2025, which actually now means you get a 2-year jail sentence for executives who hide or fail to report illegal pollution. So but what I would say is the problem with all this, both Conservative and with Labour, albeit Labour is only a year in on this, so, give them time. I think Steve Reid actually is making the right noises. But the problem is, we've heard lots of noise. We've then failed to ever see the prosecutions then follow through. And my biggest issue, again, is that, and I'm meant to be some free market libertarian conservative, well, what's free market libertarian conservatism, capitalism, when it comes to water companies, when I have no choice but to pay Severn Trent, who is serve my local area, and they are able at the moment to rack up massive debt. They're paying out record dividends to shareholders, and yet I'm also having my bills massively racked up for a poor service. There is a very genuine conversation I think we need to have about nationalising water in this country.
Let's bring in JJ.
Well, you're exactly right, Patrick. If I go to my canal and start throwing my rubbish in there, I'm going to get arrested for that. But the water companies are literally throwing their rubbish, our excrement, into our waters, and nothing's happening. Thames Water in London. London's a real bad place for the fatberg you saw on the video before. London has loads of those. They spend £1 million a month, Thames Water in London, clearing out the fatbergs. They made last year 140 million profit. They could spend a lot more than they're currently spending to try and stop the water waste, to improve the sewers, to fix the pipes. They're giving away, we're losing, they're charging us more money for our bills, but they're losing water through all these loose parts, and they refuse to fix it because they want to make the profits as big as possible. Labour and the Tories the Tory government could have done more.
Just to correct you, because their figures came out the other day. We had them in front of the Select Committee. Their chief executive, their chairman, and their profits came out that morning. They made £176 million loss last year, but
we're going to be cut off.
By the looks of things, their investors have deserted them, KKR.
All right, fine. We've got to go. In the next hour, look, this is a huge revelation, all right? So around 1 in every 100 people, channel migrants living in hotels is charged or suspected of committing a crime. It's absolutely shocking. We're going to talk about it when we come back.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A lively night out there in places with a thunderstorm warning in force for parts of southeast England because of the sheer amount of rain that could fall in just under 3 hours. We've got low pressure to the northwest. That's causing rising air. That, combined with the heat and humidity that has been building over the last few days, means that an area of thundery rain may well be imported from northern France through the Channel and arrive into London and the southeast during the early hours. And the intense rainfall rates, although not everyone will experience them, of course, there is the risk of flash flooding from this system. Elsewhere across the UK, a muggy night to come. A lot of cloud cover, further showers here and there, but particularly across parts of England into East Wales. And it's this area where there is the risk of a month or even 2 months worth of rain falling in less than 3 hours. So although we need the rain, that amount of rain falling onto dry surfaces could cause some real issues by Saturday morning. Northern Ireland, cloudy skies, a few showers, scattered showers into the west of Scotland. Not as humid here as compared with the rest of the UK, but it's a cloudy picture across many parts of England, southern and eastern Scotland, parts of Wales as well, with these outbreaks of thundery rain moving north. Not everyone will experience thunder, lightning, hail, although there will be some aspects of that. Many places, though, will see a spell of heavy rain.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine having an extra £1,000 to spend each week for an entire year. £54,321 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to spend however you like. £54,321 in cash could be landing in your bank account this year. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, happy Friday again, everybody. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. Let's start at the back this time. How are you? Hello, how are you? Good stuff. Thank you very much, everybody. My wonderful live studio audience. And we've got a big hour coming your way. Here's what's on. One in every 100 Channel migrants in hotels is now suspected of committing a crime. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And well, it comes off the back of the fact that now only 1 in every 16 or so Afghans that we smuggled into Britain actually has a genuine asylum claim. Plus,
I think it's really important that 16 and 17-year-olds have the vote, because they're old enough to go out to work, they're old enough to pay taxes, so to pay in.
It's the tone of his voice, I think, isn't it? Yes, people. Anyway, should 16-year-olds have the vote? Plus,
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
well, and obviously we've got loads of Prince Harry fans in. OK, Harry and King Charles are undergoing reconciliation talks. Can he ever really be forgiven? Also,
down here lives the fatberg, a mixture of rancid fat, human excrement and other unmentionables.
That's 3 times I've seen that clip now, and I don't think I need to do it again. Anyway, the reason why we are saying that is because apparently water pollution is up 60%, and yeah.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Well, it's one way to ruin a marriage, isn't it? On my panel tonight, we have got the former Conservative MP, Jane Stevenson. We are also joined by the broadcaster extraordinaire, JJ Alasobi. The former Vice Chairman of the Tory Party, Jonathan Gullis. And the Labour MP for Brent West is Barry Gardner. Well, we've got a heck of a lot to get through, so get ready, Britain. Here we go. One in 100 Channel migrants in hotels are wanted for a crime. That's next.
Thank you. The top stories: more than 23,000 small boat migrants have crossed the English Channel this year, as hundreds more made the crossing this morning. People smuggling gangs have taken advantage of thick fog in the Channel today to launch multiple small boats towards UK waters. GB News can also reveal over 320 migrants made the crossing yesterday. The number who have crossed so far this year is more than 55% up on the same period last year. Diane Abbott says the Labour leadership wants me out and that her comments in a BBC interview released this week were factually correct after she was suspended from the party for a second time. Her suspension comes after she doubled down on comments about racism, for which she'd previously apologised. Ms Abbott was suspended by Labour in 2023 after writing a letter to The Observer comparing racism experienced by people of colour with that seen by other groups. She apologised and was readmitted to the party before last year's general election. 4 others had the whip removed this week. They now sit as independents in the House of Commons. Former Defence Secretary Grant Shapps says he'd make the same call again in a heartbeat when it comes to the Afghan data leak, saying Afghans who helped Britain risked execution and British special forces were exposed. The personal details of spies and special forces were included in a major data breach that led to thousands of Afghans being secretly relocated to the UK. Information about more than 100 Britons, including those special forces and SAS, was contained in the breach. Mr Shapps said the injunction blocking the reporting of the breach at the time was quite rightly applied for by his predecessor, and he believed at the time it should stay in place. The super-injunction preventing the reporting of even the existence of the injunction was lifted earlier this week. The child who died in a school coach crash in Minehead yesterday was a 10-year-old boy. 9 remain in hospital, including 6 children. A total of 21 people were taken to hospital following the collision between Wedden Cross and Timbercombe yesterday afternoon. There were 60 to 70 people on board the bus at the time of the crash. Tributes have been paid to the victims of the heartbreaking and devastating crash. Sir Keir Starmer said there are no adequate words to acknowledge the death of a child. And parts of southern England are set to be battered by torrential rain tomorrow, which could cause significant flooding and a danger to life, according to the Met Office. An amber warning for thunderstorms has been issued between 4 a.m. and 11 a.m. tomorrow, spanning major towns and cities, including London, Brighton, Portsmouth and Cambridge. Forecasters have warned of sudden flooding in roads and homes. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More from me in an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you again to my wonderful live studio audience. People travel far and wide to be here, so let's make it a cracking hour for everyone. This is a very serious story. Oddly predictable, though. So 1 in every 100 asylum seekers currently in migrant hotels have been charged with a crime. Hundreds of them have been charged with crimes such as rape, robbery and GBH. The Sun newspaper monitored courts across the country for the first 6 months of the year, and they noted the defendants who gave their addresses as one of the 105 known asylum hotels. But it does get worse, I'm afraid, because the true number of crimes could actually be much higher. Why? Well, the Home Office refuses to reveal the locations of every single migrant hotel, so if you take this to its logical conclusion, there are more criminals, aren't there? But just yesterday, at least 5 asylum seekers who had been staying at hotels appeared in court on charges including sexual assault, assault by beating and theft. So 5 yesterday alone. A Libyan asylum seeker living at a Home Office hotel yesterday admitted threatening a member of staff with a knife. In fact, the Thistle City Hotel in Barbican, which is in central London, this was the one that was revealed actually by The Sun as well as being a hotbed of illegal Deliveroo and Uber Eats drivers.
Asylum seekers are being offered Deliveroo and Just Eat accounts within 10 minutes of asking for them, as thousands work illegally for the apps across the country. We went undercover to expose how easy it is for illegal immigrants who have just arrived in the UK to join the massive black market economy. And at hotels in London and Bournemouth, we witnessed dozens of migrants in the full uniforms of Deliveroo and Just Eat, coming and going at all hours of the day.
32 men from that hotel have been up in court for offences including assault of an emergency worker and theft from a shop. How many migrants have come across the channel this year now? I think you might have heard it in the bulletins there. Have we got any guesses in the room?
23,000.
Straight away, that guy's got ears. Good stuff. 23,000. So, when we see things like this, now this was yesterday, I think, or the day before, and it's from the Calais area. So the French, for all the talk, have decided to just give them life jackets. And then, actually, when we pick them up in the channel, the French asked for the life jackets back so that they can give it to more, which is bonkers, isn't it? But anyway, well done with the old negotiations there, Sir Keir. But I'm not saying that any of them specifically are criminals. Of course, we don't know, do we? However, just based on these numbers, statistically speaking, if you got another boatload of them, so 2 boats that size, at least one of them is going to end up in court. And how many of them have we got coming over each day? So how should the government react to these figures? I'll bring my panel in, but we've actually got a few people who want to ask questions on this. So if it's all right, I'll start straight away with this chap on the front row. What would you like to say, sir?
So do you think it would be more fair to concentrate the housing of asylum seekers in areas where the people there support it the most? So, for example, could we just put them all in Lib Dem constituencies?
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you're spot on, mate. I think you're spot on. If you vote for it, you should get it. Surely that's the most direct form of democracy. That would be my view. Jonathan, what do you say?
So I totally empathise with that, because Stoke-on-Trent, as I say, was a member of this voluntary asylum dispersal scheme. A Labour-led council under a Labour government signed us up and meant that we were taking over thousands of illegal migrants into our city, because ultimately Stoke-on-Trent is cheaper on housing, and therefore that was being picked up by the Stoke-on-Trent taxpayer. And actually it was legal action from the then Conservative-led City Council of Stoke-on-Trent that forced the then Conservative government's hand into saying every area should have to take their share, because it was only Glasgow in the whole of Scotland that was part of this voluntary scheme. And in fact, we had more in the entirety of Stoke than the entirety of Wales. It was absolutely absurd. Look, Patrick, I've said it before on other shows I've done with you. We have fighting-age men between the age of 18 and 39. In fact, 74% of them were between 18 and 39 between 2018 and 2022, who are coming over into this country with their medieval attitude towards women and particularly towards children as well, and are coming in and raping our women, murdering people on the streets, working illegally, supplying the drug trade and the black market too. And it is extremely worrying and dangerous. And the fact that 34% of all convictions for sexual assaults are from foreign nationals, when they make a representation of 11% of the population. We know Afghans and Eritreans are 20 times more likely to be convicted of sexual offences. And Baroness Casey's own report said that we are seeing more and more illegal migrants coming up in these child rape gangs that are being investigated. These buggers need to be detained. They need to be deported as immediately and as quickly as possible, because they are a threat to our safety as a nation.
Well, it's got a round of applause. And it's not hard to see why. Just before, I know you've not got the microphone, but I take it you don't currently live in a Lib Dem seat, then?
I do, actually.
Oh, it's all going your way, mate. It's all going your way. But that might be the downside of it, right? Which is that you'd end up with it. But go on, JJ, your views on this. So, you know, what should the government be doing about it? Do you accept this chap's point here that maybe if you vote for it in your area, you should bear the brunt of it?
Like I said earlier, I don't understand why if someone commits a crime, they aren't instantly deported. It doesn't. If you come to this country, whether it's someone from Libya, you come here and you commit a heinous crime of rape or robbery, then, OK, you've gone to court, you've gone through our justice system, and we've deemed you not fit to be part of our society, you're going back to Libya. It doesn't matter if you think, if you're going to say to us, oh, but in Libya, because I'm a rapist, they're going to stone me. Well, that's the choice you made. They should be deported instantly. I can't understand why our government is incapable of doing it when so many other progressive countries in the world are doing exactly this.
All right. Before I bring in my other two, if that's OK, because I'm going to stick on the same topic, but I believe there is somebody else who's got a microphone now, I think. Yes, hello. What would you like to say?
Hello. Every morning I switch on GB News and I see the face of Mark White, and it depresses me straight away.
Not because of Mark White, because of the things he has to say.
Mark, brilliant reporter. But the trouble is, we've got these asylum seekers, migrants, whatever you want to call them. Most of them are coming across illegally. That's the word, illegally.
Yep.
At what point do we draw the line? And I'm looking at Barry on this one. Where do we draw the line and say, no more, we've had enough? We don't know who we're invited in. we need to draw the line somewhere. At what point is that going to be?
Well, yeah, and I suppose in light of the facts that have come out today, the stats that have come out today of, roughly speaking, based on the Sun's analysis, that 1 in every 100 or so people currently in a migrant hotel is suspected of having committed a crime. Yeah, that would be a good opportunity, Barry, would it not, for the Labour government to go, actually, national security, let's stop this madness?
Well, look, let's distinguish between guilty and suspicion, because the word suspicion could, you know, maybe people in this audience are suspicious of how many, but it doesn't mean they have. But look, let's talk about addressing the issue. And, you know, Jonathan gave a great pitch there, but he had 14 years to do something about it, and he did bugger all. You know,
I think I was one of those very few, Barry, who spoke out. But you know what, Barry? To back you up quickly on this, because it's a fair challenge. I deservedly had my backside handed to me at the last general election because the party I represented failed in its duty to actually get control of our borders. So rightly, I'm here as an ex-senator rather than an
So now let's talk about what the government has been doing, right? The backlog in the courts, which is the reason that people are stacked up in hotels, because the courts can't process people through. We've addressed that, and we've now got 5 hotels already closed because we've actually managed to process so many more people through. The
backlog's still 90,000, Barry.
So the hotels are down. The illegal employment is being tackled because we're actually raiding places like that.
Not sharing where the migrant hotels are with Deliveroo, though, which would be the easiest way of doing it.
Well, there may be GDPR reasons why we can't do that.
That's a cop-out, Barry.
But the point is we are raiding those places to get the illegal working sorted out, and the returns have increased by 50%. Now,
voluntary.
Is it enough? No, not just.
Most of them are voluntary.
I'm sorry?
Most of them are voluntary.
If you're talking about the totality of returns, yes, but the actual enforced returns have increased by 50%. So we're actually addressing the issue in a whole series of ways, not just leaving the courts to block up so you can't do anything about it, because only if you've been through the courts can you then do what JJ suggested, and that is to be able to return the people who shouldn't be here.
For too long, Jane, people have, I think, been asked to ignore the bleeding obvious, which is what they feel a bit threatened at times when there's a big migrant hotel or something there, and then you get a lot of people piling in, you know, with little placards saying that, oh, you're a Nazi, if you think that there are criminals in there. And it turns out that actually, roughly speaking, according to The Sun, 1 in 100 people who are in those migrant hotels are suspected of being a criminal.
And it is a terrifying statistic. It really is. And I think people have had enough. I knew Labour would be really weak on this because smash the gangs means nothing. It doesn't mean reduce the crossings. It just means go after a few baddies. Clearly, in a year, it's up by 50% on last year. And I had my issue with the last government. I resigned over the Rwanda scheme. I wanted it to be much tougher. I want the whole asylum system completely ripped up and started again. Perhaps you won't be able to come from a developing country into a developed one, but you get to go to a third country that is safe. So we need to completely rewrite these things. But Labour came in, scrapped Rwanda before it was tested. It was deterring people. They crossed into the Republic of Ireland. You can go back and watch the news reports. The Bibi Stockholm barge closed.
Can I just
Barry,
ask you
it's getting worse. And you say hotel use is down. You have fewer hotels, but you have more people in bigger hotels. You're hoodwinking the British public.
No, not at all. Look,
there are more people in hotels than when you came to power.
The hoodwink is to say that the Rwanda scheme was or ever could have worked.
Why were people going into the Republic of Ireland,
And let me just explain why. And that is because the asylum seekers and the economic migrants can count. And they know that if you've paid £700 million for a scheme that is only going to be able to take 400 people...
It could have been... Barry, that was the initial number, and it could have been expanded. There were other countries...
Well, thank God for 50 a week, eh? Return to France. That's going to do the square root of bugger all, isn't it? Right. 50 a week back to France. That takes 7 months to clear the backlog of the last 7 days after the deal.
There's a blow in the microphone again, sorry. Barry, you're looking a bit agitated there. You don't feel like you've had your question answered, is that right?
I did get my question answered.
Go on, remind us of it.
I said, Barry, you are the president of government. When are you going to draw the line and say no? Now, if you're not going to say no now, we've got another 4 years of this. How many more thousands are going to come across the channel?
They are, and
we have to say no and draw the line. We've got to draw the line now and stop them.
What would you do? Would you turn the boats back?
Get the Royal Navy out there. Push them back.
Right.
And the Royal Navy already said they won't do that. The Royal Navy have said they won't do it. So it's one thing you're saying, well, let's push the Navy out. The Navy said they won't do it. And it's rich for the tourists to sit up here after 14 years of ruining the country to now say it's increased
in 2018.
Well, how's it increased? It's record levels. It's 23,000, JJ. That's a fact. That's a statement of fact. Let's not pretend that things got worse.
We have got radio listeners who are currently deaf, right? So if we could just keep it to a gentle
Home Secretaries to Rwanda. So well done to you.
Well, who gave you that joke? Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer. Did you write his jokes to him? That would be a damn sight funnier than him making them. I'll tell you that. Like this joke deal with France he did.
14 years of failure, and now you're pointing the finger at them. We didn't vote for you guys.
It's got
I know you did.
JJ, it has got 50%
Could I try and
worse.
answer the gentleman's question?
That'd be nice.
Because he did ask me, and two things, sir. One is that you said these people are coming here illegally. We've defined it as we defined it as illegal.
It was already illegal.
Okay,
it was already illegal.
Right. So we've defined it in our law as being illegal, but under the 1951 Convention, it's not. Now, I agree with Jonathan that we need to... Yes, but the law still applies. And we need to change that, but we can only do that by international negotiation. Now, you asked, when are you going to draw the line, OK? We're already, and that's why I gave you the answer that I did. This is the way in which we're tackling it, not in one thing alone, but trying to do a whole series of things together.
I just wonder why any of us bother showing our passports when we go on holiday anymore. If it's not, like, why? Why bother?
Security at Heathrow and Gatwick and what's the point?
What's the point? Or sorry, I just entered irregularly. That's all I did. I'm going to kick my way through the barriers at Heathrow, but it's an irregular entry. You know, I don't know. I find it all a bit annoying, that technicality. Sorry, Barry, I do find it. And we all know they're breaking into Britain. I mean, it's illegal, right? It is illegal.
Sorry, look,
it is illegal.
No, our law has made it illegal to come here in a small boat.
It was already illegal to enter the country.
That was, if you were coming here as an asylum seeker, right, then you could come here by any means, and claim asylum. Whether you were an asylum seeker or not did not depend on the mode of transport. And that's...
Barry, you've just created a safe and legal route from France. You've literally told people to come to France. But safe and legal routes means that you can have loads of people coming on their droves to France on the hope they might get through. And guess what? If they're told they can't come on the safe and legal route from France, they'll still pay the smuggler to come over because they know 96% of them are going to remain in this country. You've got open-door policy to small boat migrants.
You seem to think that the louder you shout, the more correct your position is.
But Barry...
I'm just giving you facts, Barry. Stats and facts.
But Barry, Keir's latest scheme to get 50 people swapped.
Right, let me
If you have any connection with the UK, you are going to head to northern France. There's going to be a mad scramble over August and
We're
September.
massively pressed for time here, so
it's going to make it worse, Barry.
Very briefly, all I would say to you is this. It's a pilot scheme, but it is...
It will make it worse.
But it is absolutely significant in this respect. It is the first time that we have been able to have processing, not in the UK of asylum seekers, but outside in another country.
And then you'll take them in.
We'll have to wait and see how it works. Again, just to ground us in what that news was today, which is those stats, which is that, roughly speaking, 1 in every 100 people in migrant hotels are accused, at least, of committing some kind of crime. You know, I just think that really should stick with people, because when people go out and say, like, oh, you know, everything's absolutely fine, I don't really mind one of these areas. All right, OK, but what if that crime is committed against you or a loved one? Because statistically speaking, that could well happen. I think that will be a problem. Right, OK, a lively start to the hour again. We're going to come back to some more topics, but of course I couldn't let it get going without giving you the opportunity to win £54,321 in cold, hard, tax-free cash. Here we go.
You have the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As there's an incredible £54,321 in tax-free cash to be won. What would you spend it on? A brand new car, the holiday of a lifetime, or just the chance to sit back, relax, and remove some of those day-to-day financial stresses? £54,321 in tax-free cash has to be won. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck, everybody. Yes, we've got this coming up.
I'm sorry to hear that your grandma passed away. I actually am. Obviously, I'm gonna be upset about that, yeah. And the only thing is, no one can force me to be a...
Got about 20% of that, don't know about you. But anyway, her vote is going to count the same as yours because she'll be 16, so she'll be able to vote under this Labour government. Great stuff, isn't it? I'm going to reveal this shocking new evidence that the Prime Minister's vote for 16-year-olds is actually just an attempt to rig the vote. Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Patrick Christys tonight. Weekdays from 9 p.m.
Should we be paying more for the BBC, do you think?
Yes, in the short term. It's for a cost of a cappuccino a week. You don't only get all the television channels, you get all the radio channels, local news, you get the websites, you get World Service, a significant amount of that. You've got a vast range of things. It's not just a television licence. And the BBC licence fee, in real terms, has gone down about 40% in 15 years. What I think we need is two things. One is an immediate increase, significant increase, so we stabilise the situation.
Go on, how much, Roger? What's the fee? Go on.
Hold on.
Well, tell me how much.
Then, secondly, hold on, we need to have a proper debate publicly about whether we want public service broadcasting, how we want to deliver it, and how we want to pay for it. The BBC has cut as much as it can. We should now have a public debate about what we want.
OK. All right, the BBC's cut as much as it can. I mean, grief. I would love to try to see the BBC try to operate on the kind of budget.
I thought you were chairman, objective chairman here. It was a head-to-head with this lady, and you were going to be an objective chairman.
Yeah, well, you decided not to answer any of my questions. But anyway, June, I'll put this one to you. Well, what do you think about the money?
Yes.
June, what do you think about the money being paid for the BBC? Should we pay more?
In 2020, you lost 80, let's have a look, 80,000. And then by 2023 to 24, that went up to 500,000 licence fees not being paid. That's because they don't want the product. A lot of the reason is the bias side of the news, which is why people watch GB News. The programme making, I can understand the creative part of it, but what you've got to look at from the public's point of view is they pay their licence whether they're using all those facilities or not.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back, everybody. And we have managed to calm everyone down a bit in the break, so that's good. But the Prime Minister has handed 16-year-olds the votes because he thinks that it'll help Labour basically take on reform, apparently. Fascinating new analysis from YouGov has revealed that the party, Labour, could gain 9 seats from reform if they extend the vote to 16-year-olds. Now, the plan to give 1.5 million 16 and 17-year-olds the vote has sparked outrage by some people, not least when you consider all the things that 16-year-olds currently can't do in Britain. You can't buy a lottery ticket, you can't drink alcohol, legally anyway. You can't buy cigarettes, you can't even buy the Rizzler paper for your cigarettes. You can't drive, you can't stand for election, which is ironic, isn't it, when you think about what you're doing here. You can't watch an 18-rated film, you can't get a tattoo, you can't buy a firework, you can't even buy super glue. But obviously, you can vote. And in fact, if Shamima Begum had just waited a few more months, then she'd have been 16, wouldn't she? So presumably, you know, that argument about, oh, she was a child and didn't know what she was doing would have been blown completely out of the water. But anyway, we've got questions stacked up from the audience on this. So, Sue from Aberdeen, what would you like to say?
I would just like to say, how is it fair that 16 to 18-year-olds can vote, but when it comes to them breaking the law, they don't face the full force of the laws that they are going to be allowed to make?
Ah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. How is that fair, Jane? Is it fair?
No, it's a really good point. And I think a 16-year-old, my niece is 16 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Lily.
Happy birthday, Lily.
But no, I think it's too young. The United Nations defines a child as up to 18. There has to be a cut-off. And I think children should not vote. So 16, you're not old enough. You're not. And people keep making the taxes point. And it's a 5-year-old can pay tax. If a 5-year-old's income is over £12,500, they would pay income tax.
Yeah, but
that's not a sensible...
Yeah, if you're a child actor, but a 5-year-old can't work 40 hours a week, a 16-year-old can.
No, but if a mega-rich 6-year-old with an inheritance, if they draw income from it, should they get the vote as well? It's crazy.
No, they shouldn't.
They're children. 16-year-olds are children.
I think we should just actually have a discussion about we should just be removing 16 and 17-year-olds from the tax system altogether. Rather than giving them the vote, we should not be making them pay tax. Many of these young people might be in their first job, might be doing apprenticeships, might be entering, other skilled professions that we desperately need. Let's just remove 16 and 17-year-olds from the tax bracket altogether. That will help SMEs and encourage them to hire younger people. It will help flourish more with apprenticeships and make trades and technical education much more viable and exciting for young people to do, rather than give someone who is a child the vote. And having been a secondary school teacher, having been a head of year, I can tell you now that I find it extraordinary that we're going to be allowing that demographic of people to vote at that age when they have far bigger issues going on in their lives, such as social media, having fallouts, having sex for the first time and the trauma that comes with that in some cases, having to deal with the sneaking a cigarette or a drink and having to deal with what comes in the classroom. But you'll be amazed with what a teacher is, a glorified social worker now. Let's not pretend it's not. And so these were the issues that I was facing. The truth of the matter is, this is an attempt to gerrymander the next election by this Labour government.
All right. Sorry, Ro, before I go to you, because I'm quite keen to get your views at the back, sir. What would you like to say?
As someone who's 18 and I've recently completed college, I remember my days at college and secondary school very, very well. I do not think at that time, 16, 17, I would be able to know much about politics and what the country needs. And I don't think I would trust the people who I've seen in my secondary school who, to say, they were not the people I think who should be voting. Do you think those people should be allowed to vote? Or do you think they're a bit stupid or selfish?
Well, can I ask you, is that all right? Can I ask you, did you feel as though there was just like a bit of stupidity? So we would be giving the vote to a lot of people who just don't know or don't really want to know anything about politics, in which case, what's the point? Or was there a big left-wing bias there that people maybe in some ways grow out of? What was it like for you?
I do think... obviously, if you look on social media, when I see a lot of comments on... When I saw about the news, obviously saying about this new policy thing, a lot of people were saying reform, 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 and it was like, do they really know what reform's all about? Do they read up about it? Do they know all about it, or are they just following Nigel Farage as like a leader?
I think it's a very good point, but I would also argue that there's 50-year-old men and women I know who know nothing about politics, and they still will say, I'm Labour till I die, I'm going to vote for Farage, I love reform. No, most people don't read any of, the entire policy manifesto. Sorry, most people don't read the entire manifesto of any party that they vote for.
That's true.
Most people vote for what matters to them. A 16-year-old, whether we think they should vote or not, they're going to be voting for what is going to affect them. If Labour say to them, we're going to give you tax-free jobs for the next 2 years, that's what they'll vote for. An 8-year-old will vote for what's going to affect them. Triple lock system? Yeah, sweet. We'll vote for that party then instead. I don't think it matters so much about the age. Everyone will vote for what is best for them.
All right.
Do you think there would be like a blindless vote though? People just voting because they think because they can.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for that, by the way. Well done. Would we mind getting a microphone to this chap on the front row? Because he's got a great point here. So, Barry, right. There are lots to go at here. I mean, look, overall, I would quite like to ask you, firstly, are you in favour of 16-year-olds voting and 17-year-olds? And secondly, do you think this is a bit of an attempt to rig the vote?
I'm not in favour of 16-year-olds voting. I don't think, you should have the vote until you're 18, and for exactly the reasons that you went through.
Is the whip gone? Sorry, Barry. Sorry, go on.
Independent MP.
No, sorry. Go on.
Look, I don't think it's a sackable offence to express.
I think it is, Barry.
I think we shouldn't be doing that. I actually also think that it's not strategically or tactically a good political move, because actually most young people want to rebel against authority, and if you're in government, you are the authority that they want to rebel against. So even if you were doing it for the most selfish of reasons, rather than the principled reasons, for which I'm sure the government is doing
There we go. The whip's back, everybody. Sorry, very quick point, mate. What would you like to say?
Within these changes, they're tacking on automatic enrolment for 16-year-old plus, but for everybody, basically. And that's going to redraw a lot of the boundaries when the Electoral Commission next comes to look at them, and that will favour Labour, basically, because it's urban areas that have less people proportionately registering to vote. And that looks so much more clearly like a gerrymandering kind of instance to me.
I think it's a really important point that you've made. If you've got 1.5 million extra people voting, what we'll have to do is we'll actually have to have a rebounding, because the Boundary Commission stipulates that constituencies have to have an electorate that is 75,000 or 5% either way. Now, we've just had it, so if we're going to admit all these new people onto the electoral register, we'll have to do it all over again.
And what's the cost of that for the taxpayer?
Large. Great point, by the way, that, mate, because I hadn't thought about that. Well, though, to be fair, the list of things I haven't thought about is quite long, to be fair. But anyway, all right. Coming up, have you got a potty mouth? I nearly did. But watch out, because one English council is going to slap you with a massive fine if you swear in public. But where is it? Find out next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Lots of blue skies and strong hot sunshine around the Mediterranean at the moment. There's going to be a bit of a breeze blowing, however, this weekend, especially for Crete and Cyprus. Maybe 1 or 2 showers inland across Turkey, but again, most of the coast's dry and sunny. Same goes for Italy and much of southern Spain, along with the Balearics and the Canaries. Also set fair. Temperatures in Tenerife close to 30 Celsius. We'll have highs here of 29 for the next few days, and similar temperatures in Barcelona.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A lively night out there in places with a thunderstorm warning in force for parts of southeast England because of the sheer amount of rain that could fall in just under 3 hours. We've got low pressure to the northwest. That's causing rising air. That, combined with the heat and humidity that has been building over the last few days, means that an area of thundery rain may well be imported from northern France through the Channel and arrive into London and the southeast during the early hours. And the intense rainfall rates, although not everyone will experience them, of course, there is the risk of flash flooding from this system. Elsewhere across the UK, a muggy night to come. A lot of cloud cover, further showers here and there, but particularly across parts of England into East Wales. And it's this area where there is the risk of a month or even 2 months worth of rain falling in less than 3 hours. So although we need the rain, that amount of rain falling onto dry surfaces could cause some real issues by Saturday morning. Northern Ireland, cloudy skies, a few showers, scattered showers into the west of Scotland. Not as humid here as compared with the rest of the UK, but it's a cloudy picture across many parts of England, southern and eastern Scotland, parts of Wales as well, with these outbreaks of thundery rain moving north. Not everyone will experience thunder, lightning, hail, although there will be some aspects of that. Many places, though, will see a spell of heavy rain as it moves north into southern and eastern Scotland by the afternoon, followed by further showers or even thunderstorms towards the south. Where we do get some sunshine coming through, it's going to continue to feel very warm and humid. Less so on Sunday, and on Sunday we've got this low pressure system circulating close to the southwest of England, bringing further spells of heavy rain and showers into the southwest. There'll be further showers elsewhere as well. It slowly turns less humid and cooler as we start next week, but there'll be further heavy showers out there and further rumbles of thunder.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Welcome back to my live studio audience. Now, if you have a potty mouth, then I strongly advise that you steer clear of Margate and Broadstairs for a while, because Thanet District Council is proposing a £100 penalty for people who are caught swearing in public. Yes, in an attempt to tackle aggressive and antisocial behaviour. This is, I don't know if this is the right way of going about it. So, yes, you're on the front row here. What would you like to say about this? Are you broadly in favour of this?
No, I don't think so. I think in the extreme cases where, I don't know, it's towards someone, a co-worker or something, then maybe yes. But I think the bigger fact is actually we should be educating, and it should start younger. I'm a teacher, I work in schools, and I hate hearing students swear. You know, schools are about values, creating community, and I think as a country, we're based on values, and I think we need to be educating from a young age through social media, through schools, and also positive role models as well, teachers, parents, and other things like that, rather than fine.
All right.
I disagree with the woke teacher on the front row.
Wow.
I used to live in Dubai. You're not allowed to swear in public there. You're not allowed to swear online there. It's a £2,000 fine. So when I was playing football and I shot the ball and missed, I went, effing hell. And one of the Arab guys came to me and said, don't say that again. If you say it again, we have to report you, and you can be fined. You can actually also go to jail. And as you're a foreigner, we can also deport you for it. But in Dubai, antisocial behaviour, you don't see it. It's a perfectly safe city.
Because of fear.
Well, I don't care what it's because of. Yeah, fear of punishment. Fear of being punished. So I think, yes, actually, £100, stop swearing. Will it stop people from swearing if they start handing out £100 fines? Yeah, I probably think it would do.
I wish they'd stop people from cycling on the pavements.
Yes.
I wish they'd stop people from spitting on the street. I wish they'd stop... You know, if you're going to stop people from swearing... when they're going down the road, I mean, I agree with you, sir. Let's educate people out of it, right? And also, it's about if somebody's being aggressive, physically aggressive, and swearing at people, that's another matter because they're causing an affray. But actually, I'd sooner they got their priorities right, sorted out the cycling on the pavements, the spitting, the litter, all the rest of the things that they can issue.
But Barry,
notices
maybe in Broadstairs that isn't an issue. Maybe in Broadstairs people aren't cycling on pavements.
You've been there recently.
No, I've not been there for years, Barry.
I don't know. For me, it just seems like low-hanging fruit, doesn't it? You know, I mean, we've got like machete gangs, we've got terrorists, we've got all the stuff that I think probably bothers a lot of people here. I don't know if people have managed to, maybe people have taken a train here or something like that, and you've got graffiti on there, or you've got people being assaulted on trains. Or it just feels a little bit like we're going to end up with people following me around the street in Margate, fining me £100 every time I drop an F-bomb.
And the other thing is, how do you enforce it? Because actually, you go up to somebody on the street and say, you've just sworn, sir, it's £100. Oh, I haven't got it on me at the moment.
Yeah.
OK, well, give us your name and address. Can you prove it? Oh, no, I've got no ID on me at the moment either. So...
It's another way of clobbering quite well, me. Gore, there's a lady there who would like to make a point. Go on, let's start. I spoke to you in the green room earlier, and you seem like you've certainly got views.
We're such a diversified country, you know, and sometimes you just swear in another language. How will they know that?
Oh, swear in another language?
Yeah, for sure. Because if people can't just hear swearing in English, just swear in another language.
I'm gonna check whether or not, Ofcom-wise, we're allowed to swear in another language on this show here now. and then I'm going to get you to rattle off as many swear words as you can in whatever language you'd like to talk. Go on with fun. Tell you what, you've caused a scene. What would you like to say, sir?
Maybe we could help Rachel out, fill a black hole in the autumn and have a national swear-a-thon.
Swear box.
£100 a chop.
Well done. This is where these laws fall down, isn't it? When they immediately become ridiculous, I think. And it is a bit ridiculous. You're going to have to be very quick, Jane, then we're going to have to...
I think it's, as you said, it's going to be hard to enforce unless you've got little men with microphones following people around with a little ticket box. I do swear in real life, but I'm selective. And I worked in schools for over 10 years as well. I never swore in school. And it does surprise me if you're on a bus or you're on the tube and you hear people just keeping swearing and there's young kids. I wouldn't swear if there were kids there. And I think... I don't know. I wouldn't want to be fined.
Do you like the idea of just reintroducing a little bit of social decorum, right? I think, how many is it you walk... my grandma, absolutely love my grandma. She's approaching 90 now, and I go out and about with her the odd time when I'm back up north. You walk past people like smoking weed on a park bench and swearing and spitting everywhere. And you just think... You know what I mean? I wouldn't like the idea of... It just feels a bit grim, someone like that having to walk past that. But I don't know whether the solution is to...
He who is without sin may cast the first stone is how I would suggest on this particular...
Yes, I think, I am not without sin. Right, OK, well done, everyone. We're going to have to whiz on now. But, oh, yes, good. I need more audience participation from you. Greatest Britain Union Jackass time when we come back. Stay tuned.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
French authorities first seized the Lady T, and that's an Eastbourne-based fishing vessel. And next, they fined its skipper, Philip Edwards, €30,000 to release his boat. Now, the Lady T, operating legally under UK jurisdiction, was intercepted by a French patrol ship near the Somme Bay. Now, the incident has sparked massive outrage among British fishermen and is renewing calls for the government to stand firm against French overreach in national waters. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm now joining with Charlotte Edwards, who's the husband. Husband Philip is the skipper of the Lady T and is out fishing right now. Charlotte, welcome to the show. I've got to say, here at GB News, we are hugely supportive and appreciative of British fishermen and fisherwomen. do a fantastic job. So if you're nervous about the interview, please don't be. I want to ask you how on earth this happened. I mean, there's been a lot of talk, for example, that the Lady T didn't have the correct paperwork, it was fishing illegally, and the French decided to pounce. What's the reality?
The paperwork just slipped through. It was an admin error. The other two boats had the permits, and unfortunately, his didn't at the time. He wasn't in as far in as they said he was. He was about 800 metres in their water. He wasn't near the 12-mile.
He was intercepted by the Pluvier. That's a French Navy ship. No, by the way, the sort of French Navy ships that just seem to give an escort to illegal dinghies coming into British waters, suddenly pouncing into action. The only boat they've managed to stop seems to be the Lady T.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We are hurtling towards the final segment of this show. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's gone to a lot of effort to get here this evening. This really is the highlight of the week, the live studio audience show. It's Greatest Britain Union Jackass Town. It's going to need a lot of your participation. You can play along at home as well, although I won't be able to hear you. So let's start with Greatest Britain. And JJ, can I start with you, please?
Odd choice for me this week, Joey Barton.
Oh, here we go. Greatest Britain.
Greatest Britain. So do you remember he said if he took penalties against the England female goalkeeper, he'd score 100 out of 100. And he got ridiculed and told as a sexist. Did you watch the football match?
I did. I did.
In Sweden? They scored 5 out of 14 penalties. 5 out of 5. That's terrible. Yeah, so I think Joey Barton actually predicted the future, and he was completely right. So maybe he should be the Greatest Britain.
Oh, wow. You know, look, I do think there's I do think he's probably right about the ratio of penalties that he would score against a lot of female goalkeepers, especially the
female goalkeepers are smaller.
Yes, there are reasons behind it. A lot bigger. He would strike a ball more powerfully. It's not like a thing against women. I'm just saying, I think logically speaking, he might be right about that. Anyway, go on.
I'm going in a very different tack here. So mine is for Danny Kruger MP, who gave an amazing speech that's gone viral online about the importance of Christianity being revived in this country once again. He is a rare MP of moral courage. He's personally kind, and he has a passionate understanding of our nation's history that very few do. So Danny Kruger, well done.
We've got a clip. Play the clip. Play the clip.
The new restoration is needed now. Revival of the faith. The recovery of Christian politics.
Very short clip there, but anyway, it was a good speech, apparently. Jane, who's your Greatest Britain?
I think everyone, no matter what their background, should be proud of their heritage, proud of who they are. And this week, my Greatest Britain is Courtney Wright for wearing a brilliant Union Jack dress and being proud to be British.
It's a popular one. Go on then, Barry. Go on, Barry.
My Greatest Britain this week is the Red Arrows, because they turned on their smoke trails over a wedding to surprise the bride and groom. You can't get...
That's cool. That's good. All right, let's wrap it up. So, winner time now. Joey Barton, anyone?
Yeah!
Oh. I love that. I love it. One bloke on the front row. Go on. That's a hill I'll die on. Right. Danny Kruger MP. Yeah. We've got Courtney Wright. We'll probably have a winner, but the Red Arrow surprise wedding. Right. It's Courtney Wright. Well done, Courtney. You are this week's Greatest Britain. Union Jackass time. Probably have to quite quick. Go on.
It was going to be John Turreau, but I've actually changed it during the show to Jonathan Gullis. He's my...
Is that what you're doing?
No.
I've been totally caught out by that.
John Turode for thinking that he is owed a job, basically. His contract was up, they didn't renew it, and now he's saying, they fired me. They didn't fire him, they didn't renew your contract. Simple.
Well,
Okay.
with Nadia Hussain, she's been moaning she didn't have her contract renewed.
Yeah.
There you go.
Interesting. OK.
That was JJ's selfish attempt to try and be popular again after saying he's pro-Jerry Barton. So let's be frank about that. My union Jackass is Jess Phillips MP, who went on LBC and decided to deride men as all men being some sort of sex pest and pervert that walks the streets, and then berating Tory MPs who had the wit removed from them back in 2019. But then, funnily, on the media and now with her job in government, suddenly says, oh, it's fine to have MPs kicked out of their party if they don't toe the line. Interesting conversion. I suppose that 20,000 plus extra salary might help.
All right, OK, there we go. Go on, Jane.
Oh, it's going to be every time I'm here. It's Keir Starmer. I got into politics because I wanted Brexit to happen, and in 2019 I wanted to stand to ensure it did. This week we found out we're going to be paying into EU budgets to take rules from them. He's given away fishing rights for 12 years. Keir Starmer's EU mothership is the first thing in his head, and he's going to do a lot of damage.
10, 15 seconds, Barry?
Yep. My union Jackass is the policy wonk in number 10, who said my colleague Chris Hinchcliffe had been suspended for persistent knobheadery before getting the minister to accept every single suggestion that Chris Hinchcliffe had made to amend the planning and infrastructure bill.
All right. Oh, there you go. Good. Right, OK, union Jackass time. What was your one again, sorry?
John Turode.
John Turode. No, OK, fine. In fact, we've only got 10 seconds left, so just shout the name of the person you want to win. Some of the Union Jackass.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. A lively night out there in places with a thunderstorm warning in force for parts of southeast England because of the sheer amount of rain that could fall in just under 3 hours. We've got low pressure to the northwest. That's causing rising air. That, combined with the heat and humidity that has been building over the last few days, means that an area of thundery rain may well be imported from northern France through the Channel and arrive into London and the southeast during the early hours. And the intense rainfall rates, although not everyone will experience them, of course, there is the risk of flash flooding from this system. Elsewhere across the UK, a muggy night to come. A lot of cloud cover, further showers here and there, but particularly across parts of England into East Wales. And it's this area where there is the risk of a month or even 2 months